As Lagos prepared to host the opening stage finish of the 51st edition of the Volta A Algarve, it should have been a straightforward day. The 19th of February 2025, however, turned out to be one of cycling's most farcical in recent years. 192 kilometres to ride, a stage that's been ridden so many times before in this race, and an opportunity for some of the biggest names in the sport to have a bunch sprint at the end of it. That's how the day was set up. Portimao to Lagos, and the former winners of what is a tremendous bike race listed. In the last few years, only the very best have won. The opening day usually one for the sprinters. Geraint Thomas not in that category, and here to help his teammates. Primož Roglic hoping to get through the day safely. Same for all the rest of the GC stars, the likes of Geoghegan Hart, with Wout van Aert hoping to maybe get involved for the stage win. The Portuguese cycling royalty on the front of the peloton as things started well, and we seem to be in for a pretty normal standard start. Once the flag waved, 8 riders got up the road. A breakaway getting 4 minutes, all from Portuguese domestic teams. Tibani, Argentine rider from the Aviludo Luletano Lule team, took the King of the Mountains points, and he'd go into that jersey by the end of the day. Inside the final 60 kilometres and the gap had gone down to below 2 minutes. Shortly after this point, one rider would attack at the front. Peloton chasing on as Carlos Salgueiro went for a solo adventure. There was a very brief attempt from Francisco Moraes to follow him, but one more dig was enough to see Salgueiro off the front. The rider from the Portuguese capital, Lisbon, would be off for an adventure to the intermediate sprint points. The riders touching the far southwestern coast of Portugal. The wild Atlantic waves battered into the beach as the riders on the roads try to batter each other. 42 kilometres remaining with Salgueiro out the front. A crash or two behind, but thankfully not too much of that happening. João Bau getting back to his feet and in the peloton as the peloton were about to catch the breakaway. Everything was still together with just over 20 kilometres to go, the break having taken the bonus seconds at the intermediate sprint. There was then relative calm before chaos and then later farce ensued. Teams trying to set things up for a sprint on a finish that many of them would have ridden before. A peculiar one because it's 2 lanes towards the finish down by the port, but when you're following TV motorbikes that are close, course directors and other wheels, it's difficult to know exactly where you're going. Here we had all the ingredients coming together to create a moment that surely is going to mark a before and after point. Riders going the wrong way, most of them at least, and into an area that was packed with people said to watch the race, but having to turn around and see the riders go the wrong way. Everybody in disbelief, including us in the commentary box, and Filippo Ganna on the right-hand side of the shot, one of a few riders who managed to go the right way. He continued to ride away, seeing a wind dangle in front of him. The sprint to the line, albeit on the wrong side of the road, was won by the peloton, but the one that mattered was taken by the Italian rider from the Ineos Grenadiers. The time trial star suddenly saw the equivalent of a penalty kick, an open goal, a free hit. He'd ride across the line, and in a sight that will make this and other videos, news bulletins go viral, celebrate whilst on a parallel bit of the road, seemingly in a parallel universe, the rest of the peloton went beside him. They were even crossing the barriers at the finish, and thankfully it seemed as though there was no incident when rather serious things could have happened. The inquest into this will live on long, and the initial shots of disbelief were certainly things we don't expect to see often. This is how it happened. Were they following a TV motorbike that was too close? Did people not turn off at the right time? Was the signalling wrong? All of that will come out in the wash. But instead of going left here, they went straight on right. There was an initial doubt from some riders. And when the realization hit in, a sense of what would they do now? Again, thankfully, no other awful incident that could well have happened, with no other barriers to protect crowd or riders. And on the right hand side at the same time, Ganna victorious. Now, you might have thought that that should have been the 5th victory of the season for the Ineos Grenadiers, the first for Filippo Ganna. These were the results as we saw them across the line. Ganna, Gregoire, Kristen, the top 3 who went the right way. However, just less than an hour after the race finish, news began to filter out that perhaps things weren't going to stand at all. A decision seemingly taken by commissaires and referees, making sure that there would be no results and that the whole stage would be cancelled. Harsh perhaps on Ganna, who went the right way. Leave your comments below to let us know what you think. More importantly, however, surely this incident should mark a before and after moment when it comes to safety. It should have been different, mistakes are made, but before anything, and above all, it should be safe.